Hey everybody, welcome back to the Down Commander Deck Dojo. Kick off your shoes and tighten up those belts, because today I'm going to be giving you my top 5 tips for playing politics in Commander. Hey there Planeswalkers, welcome back to the Down Commander Deck Dojo. I'm your Sensei, AJ. Now I don't have a deck tech ready for today, so I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Today I wanted to present to you my top 5 tips for playing Commander politically. Now, before we head into the list, I want to give you a little background into me as a player. So back when I started playing Magic, I thought I wanted to be a competitive player. I tried to spike a couple of local tournaments, but it turns out I'm not very good at technical play, and honestly I kind of hated it. I realized along the way that I fell more in love with janky combo decks with lots of moving parts and just trying to draw cards for value. I had more fun expressing myself with my decks than I did necessarily winning. Plus, I lost a lot, and losing sucks. So, along the way, a couple of my friends decided that maybe we should give Commander a try. So we sat down and we brought the 2016 Commander Precons, and I fell in love with the Yidris deck. Like, I thought it was a really cool deck that had a lot of moving parts in it. But more importantly than the cards in the deck, or even the play patterns of the deck or the combo pieces, I fell in love with the multiplayer angle of Commander. I learned quickly that while I may not be very good at Magic, I'm really good at playing people. And so that's when I fell in love with playing politics. Now, politics, much like combo, is a complex play style with lots of different mechanisms that you have to keep track of. When played successfully, politics can be fun and interactive and can encourage communication at the table. But when played poorly, politics can feel kinda scummy and can lead to some very unfun evenings and can get you unfairly targeted by your playgroup. We've all seen people who've tried to play politics and have done it poorly and given it a bad name, soured it for everyone at the table, and you just end up not wanting to play with those people. So this list is going to be my attempt to rectify that and to give you some solutions to make sure that you can play Commander politically as fun as possible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and head into the list. Number 1, be honest. The biggest mistake you can make when playing politically is to outright lie to your opponents. Sure, we want to mislead our opponents, we want to manipulate them into making suboptimal plays, but trust is key to that manipulation. If they don't trust us, they never let their guard down, and we never reach the end game, which is our goal. Always be honest with your opponents. If you make a deal with them, honor it. If you say, I won't attack you for the next turn, don't betray them. Once you've been branded a liar, that stigma stays with you through this game, the next, and probably for the lifetime of your playing with this particular playgroup. It's very difficult to come back from being branded a liar. And if you're a liar, they're not going to make deals with you, and that's essential to playing politically. So how do we manipulate our opponents without flat out lying to them? Well, that brings us to point number 2. Number 2, be precise. You want to be as specific as possible when making deals with your opponents, whether it's through your plays or through your words. Make sure to leave as little room as possible for them to call you a liar. Let's say an opponent wants to make a deal. They're going to do X, but they're only going to do it if you promise not to attack them next turn. Well, in your hand, you're holding the cards to mill them out on your next turn. Well, agree to their deal. Say, I promise I won't attack you next turn. And then when it gets to your turn, mill them out. Now, they might get upset and say, whoa, what the hell, man? You promised not to kill me this turn. and remind them, no, 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 no. I promised not to attack you this turn, and I didn't attack you. It's not lying. It's about being specific. It's about being so honest that they can't get mad. Now, don't get me wrong, they're probably still going to get mad, but we're just going to use that salt to season our mid-game snack pretzels. It's not just about being precise in our words, we also want to be precise in our plays, which brings us to point number 3. Number 3, be patient. Don't make yourself the threat until you're willing to transition to the end game. If your plan is to discard one giant fatty or to reanimate a bunch of creatures with a living death, don't draw attention to that until you're ready to. Be very casual about it, Go to your end step, I guess I'll discard this Jin Gataxias. I mean, how many games of Commander have you played where you go to discard and people don't even notice what you discard because they're already moving on to the next player, because that's just kind of how we streamline games so they don't take 6 hours each game. Use that to your advantage. Now don't lie. Like I said, rule number 1, don't lie. If someone asks you, hey, what did you discard? Tell them, just this Jin Gataxias. Not like I had the mana to play it anyway. I mean, you probably don't. And they don't need to know that your plan is just to cast Animate Dead next turn and reanimate it. I mean, shh, it's a secret. Don't be afraid to wait as long as possible to transition to the end game. Wait until life totals are low. Wait until people are tapped out and they can't respond. Transitioning to becoming the threat is one of the most vital parts of playing politics correctly and efficiently. So that brings us to point number 4. Number 4, be non-threatening. We don't want to be in the lead in the beginning. We don't even want to be in the lead in the middle. If anything, we want to wait until the very last second and then snatch victory from the jaws of our enemies right when they least expect it. When some people think of politics, they think of stacks cards like maybe Winter Orb or Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, and yeah, those cards can be political, but usually they just serve to piss off our opponents and paint a giant target on our chest, and that is absolutely not what we want. Now, those cards can be useful, and sometimes we can use them politically, but for the most part, we want to prioritize cards that impact our board state over cards that affect our opponents. So instead of playing an uphill battle or a blind obedience, we want to just focus on playing Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs, or Ghostly Prison, and encouraging our opponents that it's easier to attack each other than to focus on us. And then some of these cards that are stacksy, we want to make sure that we sequence them in a way that makes us look more friendly to the table as a whole. So hold that Thalia Heretic Cathar that taps down your opponent's creatures, hold that until somebody plays a Hammer of Perforos. Because then you can look at the table and go, I know this sucks, guys, but I'm only playing this because I want to keep that person over there from dropping these big hasty threats and swinging it at you guys or me. So if you can find a way to deal with their Hammer of Perforos, I'll deal with the Thalia and get it off the table. Now, they don't need to know that you're going to get Thalia off the table with a board wipe. But it does. It's not a lie, and it does get Thalia off the table. So now you're starting to understand the way this politics thing works. The goal is to be precise with our words, be specific about how we're going to do things, not lie to them, and then manipulate them into thinking that, if anything, we're an ally, even when we play these scary cards. And that brings us to the 5th and most important tip for playing politics. Number 5, be aware. Unlike other strategies, we're not playing the game so much as we are playing the players. Normally when you're playing a game of Magic, you're concerned with the board state. what creatures are on the battlefield, what cards are in our opponent's hands, things like that. But when we're playing politically, we're more concerned with our opponents themselves. In this way, it's a lot more like playing poker than playing traditional Magic. We're looking for our opponent's tells, what scares them, what motivates them, and how we can best use that to our advantage. Use your counter spells and removal to curry favor with an opponent. Wow, I see that Aura Shards could really work out bad for your artifact deck. I mean, how about I blow it up for you, but you don't attack me for 2 turns? They don't need to know that your win con is an enchantment and you need that Aura Shards gone anyway. Oh man, I think they're holding up Cyclonic Rift mana. I mean, I'd attack them all out. If they got it, right? Might as well force it. Never mind the fact that you're holding Cyclonic Rift. Appeal to sympathy from the table when an opponent turns on you. Are you all seeing this? I don't even have anything on the board right now. What did I do to deserve this? Whatever you do, pay attention to the mood of the table. Look for which allies need you and which enemies you can best ally yourself with to survive. Point the aggressive players towards opponents that scare you the most, but convince them that they're dangerous for them as well. Make the control player think that you're not a threat by making some suboptimal plays every now and then, on purpose, just to play the hapless fool. And then, when no one's paying any attention, pull on the thread and watch the sweater unravel. And those are my top 5 tips for playing politics in Commander. Be honest, be precise, be patient, be non-threatening, and be aware. When played successfully, politics can add a fun, interactive level to your playstyle, and it can encourage conversation at the table. Follow these tips to add a layer of fun and intrigue to your next commander. And that's all she wrote, folks. Well, that's all I wrote. For more information on this topic, check out the link down below to the first ever Top-Down Commander blog post. In that, I just kind of expand on this topic a tiny bit. But if you like what you saw here today, go ahead and head down below, hit the like button, subscribe, share, give me a comment. If you want to find me elsewhere, go ahead and find me on Twitter @Magus of the Salt, or look up Top-Down Commander on Facebook. With all that out of the way, I just want to say thank you for stopping by, and until next time, keep kicking ass.